Welcome to Jackie's Hand of Horror. Today it is me, Jackie Naaman Jones, and
Nuria Aguilar. Hola.
looks like we're on our own today. But we also have Quinn and the rest of the MST Revival League podcast backing us up here. So thanks for listening. So today on Jackie's Hand of Horror, we're doing a cosplay episode, and I'm here with Nudia, as we've already established. And we have our thumbs up movie trailer reviews because, honestly, I'm too poor and too lazy to go watch the whole movie. And the other thing is that life has been so crazy lately that it was literally 10 minutes before we went on air that I realized I had not watched one of the trailers. So there's no way I could have watched the whole movie, right? So today
We're more creative as well.
We are
because I have seen that most likely everybody make a critique of review of a whole movie, program, show, whatever. We do reviews of trailers.
Yes.
I don't see that done anywhere else.
Well, I haven't seen it done, but to me it just made sense for our lifestyles. We're busy people.
Correct.
And so are you. So we're starting today on our cosplay episode with Justice League. What did you think, Nudia?
Well, I suggested that movie trailer, in this case, to be seen on our cosplay episode because of on the cosplay point of view. Since I'm a cosplayer, I cosplay as Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman comes out in the trailer. I like the trailer. I already watched the movie, but I saw the trailer for this episode in our podcast, and it's just lining up the story on kind of like Batman, what Batman dreamed and what he's seen, and then the rest of the story is on the other characters surrounding that situation.
Okay.
And not quite is exactly what happened in the movie completely. So
Which
that's
is
why,
fine.
Yes.
I mean, because visually, see, I come from a point of view where I'm not like, I've never been into superheroes.
Comics
And
all that,
until Wonder Woman, by the way, oh my, I mean, how can you not love her? But so that's never been my genre. But I watched the trailer and it was just so well done.
Yes.
And the music
Oh yeah.
and the visuals that I thought, I really want to see this movie.
And
I know I'm going to really enjoy it.
It shows romance. This trailer by itself. It shows romance. It shows sadness. It shows adventure.
Yeah,
it shows heroism. Everything.
And amazing cinematography and effects. And I just thought, just from what I saw, if the movie is half as good as the trailer, then I will be highly entertained.
Yes.
So thumbs up.
Watch the movie now then.
Yes. thumbs up. And so on to our next film, which is not actually a film. It's a series, and it's on Sci-Fi, and it's called Heroes of Cosplay. And when I was looking for a movie trailer for us to review, that just caught my eye. It's not something we usually don't do series, but I really want to see this. It covered all these things in cosplay, like costuming and what did you think?
Building of the costumes. Yeah, it's
the actual building of it.
Yes, I saw in this trailer. It shows flashes of images of everything. People getting ready with the costume, getting ready with the makeup, getting ready with the hair, wardrobe malfunction. A little bit of it, and the final product shown in conventions. All that is shown in this short trailer, which it got me really interested on watching, and mainly because I'm a aficionado cosplayer. Let's say, wanted to watch the show now.
Yeah, and I felt like even if you're not into cosplay, like it's I'm interested in a lot of different things, even if
Yes.
I'm not going to go that
Mm-hmm.
direction. But I was raised with community theater,
Correct.
and so I think if you're involved in anything that's really creative,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be cosplay. That this show would be of interest to you.
Well, it could be said that most likely you are cosplaying whenever you are wearing a dress with manos.
Yes,
It
that's
could be said
true.
that as well.
I
So you are a
yeah,
cosplayer, let's
I
say, in a
that's
certain
true.
way.
I suppose so.
Yes, yes.
But I would give this show a thumbs up.
Of course, yeah.
And so on this segment on our Facebook page on Jackie's Hand of Horror, please go and follow. And we're going to
Take a
put
look of
links
those, yes,
to all these things that
those
we're doing
trailers.
so that you can
Hmm.
see the trailers. So thanks so much. Well, hey, here we are back on Jackie's Hand of Horror on our cosplay episode. And this is our forefinger, our idea section. And I have Nudia here with me today.
Hello.
And we have Nina Nightshade, who is actually one of our wives in Monos Returns. And that's a whole nother story. But Nina, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So today, we had a burlesque episode recently, and we wanted you, but our schedules just didn't sync up. So we created this episode and thought, oh well, who can we get for the idea section? And that would be you for costuming because of all your experience in in burlesque and cosplay. So I'm going to have Nudia here just talk to you about tips and ideas on getting yourself together for cosplay.
Great.
So, as Jackie mentioned, we want to focus this how to do things in the creative ideas of cosplaying or building a costume, not necessarily for a burlesque show, maybe to for a comic convention or a horror convention or any other kind of convention. Fortunately, cosplay falls in all the genres, so it's so open, and we would like you to enlighten us way more in how do you work on a costume.
Yeah. So you're right. Specifically, we're talking about the convention type costuming. One of the things I will say as a caveat is that a lot of my burlesque costumes have started as cosplays, and I've kind of created them into burlesque acts later. Um, for me, cosplay is ultimately creating and building a costume, building a character, building an essence of the characters that you love. So, in coming up with ideas, my family, I have a husband and a 14-year-old daughter, and the three of us do a lot of family cosplay. We really enjoy going to Comic Cons as a set. We find that that's a lot more fun for us to do everything together rather than each of us kind of picking our own fandoms. So when it comes to, the first thing you have to come up with is, what is your idea going to be? What are you going to work on? What speaks to you? I do a lot of obscure 80s movies because that's what speaks to me. All those old fantasy movies, Labyrinth and Legend, Dark Crystal, those are the things that speak to me, and so that's a lot of times where I'm headed with those things. Additionally, when I'm looking at characters that I want to portray, it's not always, there's always the one that like you really loved, but that's not always the one that you should cosplay. For example, with Labyrinth, my whole family did a set all together. And we were trying to think of how do we flip it on its head? How do we make it fun and interesting and make it our own? And so we decided to gender bend the Jareth character and have me play Jareth, and then my husband as the big baby dressed up as Toby. And then my daughter was playing her favorite character, which was Didymus. And so kind of playing with the characters a little bit is one of the things that I enjoy. I enjoy not doing a straightforward cosplay necessarily. I enjoy more finding ways to interpret it and make it my own and make it something fun that people can connect to.
Wow.
Well, that's part of the creativity. And it's also what I like about costuming. As you said, not necessarily is something that you really like and you can portray that. Maybe you can come up with another idea or you can find a better fit for you to portray a character.
Yeah, like I said, when you're looking at some of these characters, you're like, this is the one I really love, and then you just look at the costume and you're like, it's either I'm not going to be able to make this work for me, or it's not going to read well. One of the other challenges with costuming in cosplay is that you're trying to invoke a character that people already know. And some of those characters don't have very interesting clothing. They don't have very interesting outfits, or a distinguishing character. And so they become really hard to play unless, in our case of our family, you have people that pull it together. So my husband running around in striped pajamas doesn't read as, oh my God, it's baby Toby from Labyrinth. But when you put all the characters together, he becomes that kind of like punchline on the group. And you can do that alone too. And so I do find that sometimes you don't necessarily play the character that calls to you the most because it's hard to get that across when you're doing cosplay, because you want it to be recognizable, at least to the people who get it. You know, there's always those characters that people are like, what exactly is that supposed to be? And then you have that one person that's like, oh my God, and is so excited. So that's one of the challenges, and with getting creative with those characters. One of the other things about getting creative with the characters is not everybody's necessarily human. So a lot of times that's where the problem solving is, where I really like to come up with creative ways to handle something. So if the character's a puppet, if the character's an anime character, trying to just be human and create it exactly becomes very difficult. And so you find ways to play with it. And ways to still invoke that character without it feeling like a Halloween costume.
So you mean only for Halloween or a scary thing? Or what do you mean with that?
I guess I mean, a lot of times when it comes to a Halloween costume, it's a quick throw together type thing. You're not, it's, you know, the cheap costume that you just bought off the rack and wear on Halloween, and not necessarily creating something new or building something. So for me, cosplay is kind of that next level of costuming. It's not just a costume anymore. It's something more than that.
Well, I think that will be it. Do you have something to close this section? Any comment? You said challenges. You mentioned challenges. You mentioned, this is something great that you mentioned about the couple or family or grouping for cosplaying. Is there something else you want to share about that?
I think that when it comes to cosplay and it comes to creating those characters and creating something kind of fun and interesting, when I watch people, and you watch the people that are running around, the ones that get a lot of attention, get a lot of, hey, can I take your picture, at those cons, those successful costumes, many times it's people in a group, and it may be something very simple. So as a family, we like to pull something together, and we become a bigger cosplay because there's more of us. Another one that comes to mind really quickly is, there was once at one of the Comic-Cons I went to, about 12 people dressed up as Flash Gordon But what they had done was whenever they posed for a picture, they all posed in various movements of Flash Gordon so that you get that movement like you would in the comic book. And so it became and that becomes, the group becomes more than the cosplay itself, more than just the costume. It's also about, how do you pose? Every single time we take a picture in Labyrinth, my husband is crying because Toby is crying every single time in the movie. And so you kind of play with those characters a little bit. My daughter runs around all proud of herself because she's Didymus. So I think having fun with it, getting creative. I think that when it comes to cosplay, doing things a little bit differently and seeing how you can still invoke that character and make it your own is a lot of fun.
That's great. Oh, I love that, Nina. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Pleasure having you on here today. I knew I'd get you in here somehow. And this was awesome.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you, Nina.
Yeah, definitely.
Real quick, is there anything you want to promote? Anything you're doing?
Oh my gosh, I've kind of taken a little bit of time off of most of my performing. I'm headed to Minneapolis for Weird Al show. That's about it.
Well, that sounds awesome. You're going to let us know about that, right? I want to know.
Well, it's in Minneapolis, so.
Well, doesn't matter. Any of our listeners might be interested as well. So let us know.
Well, I want to know.
Yeah, and we can maybe post something on our website.
Well, thanks, Nina. Love you lots, and hope to get to see you again soon.
All right, take care, you guys.
Well, Jackie here for our next podcast interview. For our middle finger today, our interview is I have Madi to the max. And she is into all kinds of things. So for our cosplay episode today, tell us about what you do, Madi.
Well, I am a cosplayer and I'm an impressionist and I'm a YouTuber, and I have used all those skills to kind of combined into one great big career. I started doing cosplay when I was 14 years old, started doing impressions when I was about 16 years old, and started doing YouTube when I was about 15 years old. And I'm a voice actress and an on-screen actress, and I have managed to combine all of these things that I really love so much.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of your videos. They are so fun.
Thank you so much.
You have this incredible energy, and it's infectious.
I'm so glad. That's always my goal with my channel, is because how I end each episode is, from now until next time, don't you forget to keep smiling. Because I've had so many people just be like, just watching your videos makes me so much happier. And it's like, great. That is the goal. That I love that.
And that's what I got out of it too, is that theme that you're like me, you want to make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And find your gift and spread it out there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so easy to be negative. It's so easy to just focus on the angry stuff and the thing that is making you upset. It's a lot harder to go, no, I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to concentrate on the things that I like. I'm going to find the positive things.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more work, but it helps the world for sure. Yeah. Because if you steer the conversation into, hey, I just saw this really cool thing. I learned that you can make Harry Potter wands out of a chopstick and a glue gun. Isn't that neat?
It is neat.
It does. Yeah, it really is.
When it comes from somebody with that kind of infectious energy.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite characters to create for yourself?
Cosplay or impressions wise?
Well, let's start with cosplay.
Okay. Well, Edna Mode from The Incredibles. I absolutely love her. I grew up watching The Incredibles. It is my number 2 favorite movie of all time. I can quote it. I absolutely love it. Edna has the best scenes. I did a live action recreation of all her scenes.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I did on my channel, is I recreated all of her scenes. Just her scenes from The Incredibles. And I recreated that, and so for that I needed to have that costume. I Normally I make all my cosplay, but this was a really complicated costume. So I actually reached out to a friend, Nicole, Let Down Your Golden Hair, who does incredible costume, and she custom made it for me.
Wow.
And it's really, I love to be this character. One of the most uncomfortable cosplays ever. Because
Really?
it's solid pleather. So it's horrible in the heat, great in the winter. Great in the winter because it's totally insulated.
Right.
But in the summer, it's like, it's some interesting form of torture.
And
I love playing her.
And I have to interject that you live in Southern California.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's warm here even in the winter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for Long Beach Comic Con 2 years ago, it was one of the most muggy human cons I had ever been to. I was okay inside, but if I ever went outside, it felt like I was melting. But at LA Comic Con, it was actually in October, and it was actually supposed to rain that day.
Perfect.
So it was the perfect weather to cosplay. So it's like cosplaying as Edna, you definitely have to choose your weather correctly.
Right.
Let's see, who else
What's the word here? Oh, what conventions do you go to? What cons?
Oh, let's see. I used to go to San Diego Comic-Con, which is like the big one.
I'm there next week.
Yes, you are. And this is your first one.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So brace yourself. It's, first of all, it's always muggy really down there because it's right on the waterfront.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And really crowded.
And the body heat.
And the body heat and the smell.
Yeah, I read 167,000
yes.
people.
Yes.
Wow.
That's kind of why I don't go to San Diego Comic-Con anymore. I much prefer the littler cons like LA Comic-Con, Long Beach Comic-Con, Kamikaze, Anime Expo, Anime LA, those kind of things, which are really fun and much more, although they're still big, they're not as that overwhelming big.
Right.
Because San Diego Comic-Con can't be confined to just the con space anymore. It's kind of blown out into 3 or 4 blocks next to it.
Yes, I understand that. Yeah. Wow.
Another really fun cosplay I like to do is Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, I saw you.
I love that one. That one's so much fun. The little kids, when I'm as Belle, it's the sweetest interactions ever. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I
it's
could
really fun.
totally see that.
Yeah, and then also doing impressions of the characters as I'm in the character, like doing the Edna voice, darling, as I'm dressed as Edna. People just love me, darling.
Right, because you do voice work, so you're the full character.
I'm the
when
full
you're
character.
Out there.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Wow. I've got to come see you at some point, or maybe we'll end up at the same con.
I would think so. I would definitely think so.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, we'll coordinate it and make it happen.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what else? So that's your cosplay.
Yeah.
And then you do voice work. You do a lot of.
I'm
other
a voice
things.
actress and a YouTuber and an impressionist. And that is a lot of what my YouTube channel is about.
Okay.
Besides just making people generally feel happy, which is a rare commodity nowadays, it's also my resume. It's also something where it's like I've had major studios reach out to me because they saw my impression and they were like, hey, we need that voice.
Okay.
So I've gotten jobs because of my impression videos. So it's always about expanding. First of all, it's an exercise for me. It's always expanding, hey, what can I make my voice do? I'm constantly stretching that muscle, and then I'm constantly promoting myself.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very professional about with your manager and your help. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
and how did you get started in all these things? I mean, since you were a little kid.
Well, since
obviously,
I grew up in a household where I had full access to a craft closet 24/7, where it was like, you want to make a craft? Here, go make a craft. Do whatever you want. Full access to that. So from a very early age, I was like, hey, I know how to use these tools. I can make it.
Right.
I was always like, don't buy this expensive thing. Look at it and figure out how to make it. And I was always changing my outfit 7 times a day.
Oh,
had a costume box.
You're one of those
I'm
kids.
one of those kids. I'm one of those kids. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, it really makes sense that I got into cosplay now. Because I was always changing my costume, always loving a new dress or a new outfit. Or my mom loved to talk about how one time I went to school and I was wearing ordinary clothes, and then about a half an hour later she came to look in on the class, and I had changed into this like tap outfit with like sparkles on it. It was like
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And where did you find this outfit?
Probably a yard sale.
Like,
be my-
but you were at school.
I probably,
Did you take it in your backpack?
I probably
or-
brought it. Yeah, I brought it with me.
You didn't go out to a yard sale.
No,
Okay.
no, I didn't go out to the yard sale at 5 years old
Yeah.
and get this. No, it was definitely something. A lot of the costumes were probably gotten at yard sales. Found
Sure.
at thrift stores in my costume box, and then was like, hey, I'm just gonna take this with me and then change my outfit.
Yeah, in fact, on our do-it-yourself, our four-finger section on
Yeah.
today's, we're talking to a friend of ours who's a burlesque performer
Oh, wow.
who does cosplay, and
Oh,
she
wow.
talked a lot about where she gets her costuming and how it comes together.
Yeah.
And yeah, thrift stores.
Thrift
right?
stores are your friend for cosplayers, for
Yeah.
sure. Some of my very first costumes were definitely thrifted things, where it was like, hey, I could easily find that dress at a thrift store and then, do a little altering on it, and
That's
boom, there
right.
it is.
Yeah, and even if you can't sew, you can hot glue.
Exactly.
I mean-
that is so much what I do. Well, as I
Okay.
got into
Yeah.
doing more impressions, I then started, bringing in more cosplay into my impression videos. So every time I do an impression video, I then dress up as a character from that show. But I don't always have that exact costume, so I have to, go, oh, I have a wig that kind of looks like this character's hair,
Okay.
and a shirt that kind of does this thing, and then I will make like their logo that's on their shirt, I'll make that out of colored paper.
Okay.
Or I'll do a hair thing that looks on them. And it's a really interesting, because it's like thrifted cosplay that only looks like the right cosplay from like the shoulders up.
Right, which is all you
Which
need
is my
at that-
frame.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what impresses me and what I'd like to get across to the audience, I'm sure you do too,
Yeah.
is just because you don't have it perfect, don't let that stop you.
no.
Just go forward
Oh, absolutely.
because once you're out there, then you'll get more interest.
You'll get
and
better.
more interest. In
I mean,
fact, one of my
you'll learn from your mistakes, because
You
you'll
will.
do your first one and you'll love it and you'll have so much fun, and then you'll go, I messed up that one thing and my seam ended up splitting halfway through the
Oh,
con.
right.
Yeah, okay, well, I then learned that I need to bring a sewing kit or bobby pins, or learn to sew that better, and you will have so much fun starting out and you will get better. My first cosplays were so bad, but I've gotten so much better at them now.
And think about, if you have a costume malfunction, there's all these other people that are there
Yeah.
doing this similar things. They're
Yeah.
all cosplaying.
Exactly.
And so you might make a really great new
It's
friend
true. I
because
have.
somebody's going to have a sewing
I
kit.
have. I mean, it's really, usually at a con, there is like a repair station where they will have like a sewing kit and a hot glue gun and those things to fix.
Is that right?
Not always, because I once went to a con and within the first 5 minutes of getting there, my prop broke. It was going through security and they ended up breaking off a piece of it, and I was like, okay, I gotta find, where's prop fix? Where can I find the repair station? And they were like, oh, it's over there. Oh, it's over there. Turns out, no, they didn't have one that year at the con. So what I ended up doing is I just started walking around going, does anybody have a hot glue gun? Does anybody have this thing to fix? And, I just randomly walking up to cosplayers and going, do you have a hot glue gun? Do you have a hot glue gun? Do you have a hot glue gun? And someone actually was like, I have super glue. And I was like, oh my gosh, can I use it, please?
Yeah.
And they were able to pull it out, fix it with prop. I was like, thank you.
I had
That
this
is super glue.
little mental image when you yell out, does anybody have a hot glue gun? It'd be like an old Wild West where like 20 hot glue guns pop out of people's bags, It's like, boom.
Well, it didn't take long. It was like
That's
maybe a minute into me, saying, does anybody have that? Someone was like, hey, I have this thing.
But that's funny. I mean, I've been going to cons as a guest
Yeah.
for a few years now, but I don't get out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get out much. But I had never heard of a repair station.
Yeah.
That's just such a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So I guess to the audience, either be the person to create a repair station if
Yeah.
there's not one at a con, or if you do have a malfunction, look around because there may be one.
Yeah.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very useful. Very
Yeah.
important. And when the cons don't have it, it's very bad.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do cons. Oh, well, tell us about your YouTube channel. I
Yeah.
mean, you've been touching on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something I do it's not something I do every week. Every week I come out with a new video.
Okay.
Where I go through and I do impressions of this characters from either shows or TV shows or movies or cartoon animated things. Because I love cartoons made for kids.
Yeah.
But they tend to be like more than that. They're not just for kids anymore. Adults really get a lot out of them. They're so much fun. They're so witty. They're so bright and colorful, which is so my aesthetic. I am so bright and colorful. If you look at any of my videos, they're so super saturated with color.
Looking at your art around the house.
Yeah,
yes.
I love color. And most adult things tend to be like really dark and upsetting now. And I'm like, I don't really want so much of that. I mean, there's some shows that I watch, but I get pumped for Steven Universe. I'm excited for Star versus the Forces of Evil. I love that stuff.
Okay, I'm going to have to write some of these down. I could use a little more.
I can give you a whole list of awesome shows to watch. But, so I do impressions of those things. I also do live action recreations, like I said, of live action Edna Mode scenes. Or I did live action Finding Nemo, where I did scenes from Finding Nemo with me playing all the characters.
Okay, I'm going to see that.
It's my favorite video that I've done. I love it. I love playing Dory. I also did a live action Madagascar and a live action Jack Attack from Incredibles.
Okay, so on my Facebook page that goes with Jackie's Hand of Horror, that's where I put links to things so that people can actually see. So we will put links to some of your favorite things on there, which will also lead people into everything else you do.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's my resume. It's my way to make the world better. My favorite comments are the ones where it's like, I was having such a hard day at school and I was able to watch this and feel better.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, those are like, okay, I'm making an impact. I am doing something good. Because if I can even make you smile for 5 minutes, I have made your world better. And I'm wanting more of that.
So how long have you been doing your weekly shows, like on a regular basis? I know you dabbled with it for a while, I'm sure.
I started my channel maybe 5 years ago, and I was doing my own original characters. Like I was doing a web series where it was like I was playing all the characters. It was my own original characters, and I would have them once a week get together, and they would talk to each other. And I'd edit it to make them look like they're talking to one another. Okay. Super fun. I love these characters. But they didn't have a plot. They were just kind of talking about stuff.
Just random stuff.
Just random stuff.
Like a Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, it was like Twizzlers or things, but they were always just sitting there talking to each other. And it didn't really, I did about 50 episodes of that.
Wow.
I really love these characters, but they weren't going anywhere. I then did an impression video, which ended up getting me voiceover in a movie. And it was like, oh, wow, this really works. I should keep playing with that more. Yes. And my channel slowly transitioned into less of my original character web series and more into impression videos, which then ended up getting me really into voiceover, which ended up getting me more jobs in that field.
Wow. Yeah. So you're building your career this way.
Absolutely.
And on your YouTube channel, you have quite a few views and followers.
I got some good numbers. I'm proud of them numbers. Those are good.
Can you share some numbers?
Well, I choose not to.
Okay.
Because
that's just
first of all, it dates it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Absolutely. Because this episode actually isn't even coming out for a few weeks. So
So my numbers could be very different by the time.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad I asked you that because, see, I don't know about these things. I'm learning so much today.
Well, what you can do is you can go to my channel, subscribe, then you can see what number I have there, and then I'll have one more.
Good answer.
Yes.
You got it. Okay. Wow, is there anything else? Is there anything I've missed that you want to talk about?
Oh, let's see. There's so many good things to talk about.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted me to touch on?
Well, yeah. I mean, we talked about the cosplay and the voice work. Yeah. And I mean, I'm just so enamored by you. Really, you have this incredible energy, and I've watched a few of your YouTube videos just to get to know you a little bit.
Thank you.
And I just really like what you're doing. I'm looking forward to going and seeing more.
Yeah.
And sharing it with the world.
Yeah. Subscribe and join the Maddie Squad.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for talking with me.
Chatting.
Yeah. This is fun.
It is fun. That's it on today's Jackie's Hand of Horror for our cosplay interview.
And from now until next time, don't you forget to keep smiling.
So we're back for our ring finger section, which is things we love. You know, things we love so much that we bury it in the yard, or what would you do?
You collect at all.
What's that?
You collect them.
Oh, you collect them, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, you put them up on
all
a
of
shelf.
them. Yes.
All
Yeah.
of them. You wear pajamas with their image.
Correct.
Oh, yes.
You take a lot of pictures. You see everything. You read everything. You watch everything.
That's right.
Everything.
So for today on things we love for cosplay, well, I'll start with that. Is when we were at Crypticon recently, there were these women walking around, and they were dressed as Playboy bunnies.
Yes.
With Freddy and Jason and all these horror. And so they had bunny ears, but they'd have the Jason, and then they'd be carrying weapons, and you know the crossover.
Exactly.
Cosplay.
They did like a hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, I love
yeah.
what they did, but the crossover hybrid cosplay I really love. One time I saw a girl; she was dressed as Wendy from the Addams Family, but she had the Evil Dead arm.
Wednesday, you mean?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Oh.
And she had the Evil Dead chainsaw, and she was calling herself Ash Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, wasn't it in the Son of Monster Palooza last year?
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, we were there. Yes.
See,
yes.
you and I
That's
keep
right,
ending up at the same time.
Yes.
Because it's fun. So that's my things I love. Yeah, what about you?
Well, in regards cosplay.
Well, yeah, she's going to go on and on. Well,
I'll try to make
short.
it brief. Because cosplay is my jam. I really love it, and I am very passionate about it. I like how versatile you could get with cosplaying, and that's what I wanted, because imagination is the limit. It's, as you said, crossover, hybrid, combination of, I have seen, and actually I have a t-shirt of a combination of Star Wars characters with Hello Kitty.
Oh,
and all
wow.
that. So all the combinations that you can make is limitless.
Yeah.
That's why I like cosplay. And the other thing is, as cosplayer, I am, because maybe I'm not the best one, I'm not the greatest one, I'm not the most famous or well-known, but I do cosplay.
You're pretty good.
I get to be inventive. Yeah, I have noticed myself, because, for example, this last weekend, I will say, a friend of mine, Madi, I love you, and I went to Anime Expo, and I kept thinking of what to dress or what to do for cosplaying, because I have fantastic creatures like a mermaid, I have comic books or heroes like Storm, or such as Wonder Woman, Bad Girl, some others. But I was thinking, okay, I wouldn't like to repeat one of my costumes, and also would like to be more lined up with the theme, which is anime. Unfortunately, I'm not too into anime, but I get to be creative. So 2 weeks ago, we were to another photo shooting that I could talk about later, but it doesn't matter. And another lady, she suggested me dressing up as one of the characters for a video game. I do not play video games either, but I got really into knowing the character. I saw it's like a cartoonish drawing of the character. It's humanoid, but it's not human. It means to be a human in the game, but it's not a human itself, like a movie or something. So I was thinking, okay, what could I do? How can I portray her? Coming up with ideas, creative stuff within 2 weeks with limited budget and so on and so forth. So I came up with going to one of the Halloween costumes stores, and I saw this bodysuit on sale for $15 or something. It wasn't for the video game, but I could alter it to make it that. So I was like,
Right.
okay, I'll grab this. And then we went to a thrift store and we grabbed another 2 or 3 garments from there. And as soon as I got home, I started cutting parts of them, altering them. And then days before the convention, we came up with the idea of, I unfortunately do not know how to sew well in a machine, and it
Okay.
gets better. So maybe hand sewing some stuff and duct tape. So
Ah.
I came up with doing the most of it from duct tape.
I've seen people
And
make entire outfits
Entire,
out
yes,
of
yes, yeah.
prom
So
dresses,
yeah, exactly.
tuxedos,
Yes.
duct tape.
That's cosplaying. That's why I like it. So you get to be creative, as you said, as I said, it's limitless. And the more creative you get, the more into creating this costume you get, the more excited you get as well.
Oh, that's true.
And whenever
It's an
you
emotional
hear,
investment.
exactly,
Yeah.
whenever you hear someone you're passing by and they say, "This is the best costume I have ever seen of this character made by duct tape," you get the star, you get the check mark, you get the applauses. So that feeling as well is something that I love. That's why I'm saying I am very eager on sharing the feeling of a cosplayer.
Yes.
Because that is success. The recognition of the public.
Yes.
Is the success of a cosplayer.
Well, I have to tell you, well, not only, but the reason we're doing a cosplay episode is because of you.
Thank you.
Because I wasn't sure how that was going to go. It's not something I know a lot about.
I know.
But
I can share my pictures, and it has been so interesting because even I'm just window shopping or just shopping for something normal, a normal outfit for me for work or something, and I pass by a skirt or a bra or boots or whatever that I am like,
Yes.
maybe in my future convention I can put this together with whatever I have already and la la la.
So you need a large garage.
Yeah, I do. Yes, yeah.
Well, that was great, Nudia. This is a really fun episode, and we're gonna finish off with the radiant dress up.
Yeah, let me just share an experience that I had last year, and it's I have to tell you this. My sister, she's a fashion designer. She's way fashionable and cosmopolitan than cosplayer. Actually, she hasn't been ever a cosplayer. However, I convinced her last year. Yes. That's why I have to talk about it.
Yes.
I begged her kneeling for her to give it to me as my birthday present to cosplay with me, as Nina mentioned, a couple or grouping or something, to cosplay with me as X-Men. So I bought everything for me for Storm. I'm darker skin and more easy for me to portray her. And my sister has green eyes. She's more kind of like brunette. So I convinced her finally, thankfully, to be Mystique. Even though she has the green eyes, I got her and I bought everything for her. In order for her to do it, I convinced her, but I bought everything for her. So I got the bodysuit. I got the hairspray. It's her hair. You will see the pictures in our link, but in our Facebook page. Yeah. The face painting, everything. I got her everything. And finally, I convinced her that day. I drove to her house. We woke up at 5 a.m., took a shower, started getting ready, both of us. And I hairspray her hair with the color of Mystique's hair, a little bit damp still. And then she worked on her face. I told her, just copy this picture of Rebecca Roman's. And she was like, okay. And she was working in front of the mirror and she was like, this, yes, okay. No, just correct this. Okay. When she finished, she put the contacts, she put everything on and she turned to me. I could not believe how similar she looked like Mystique Rebecca Roman's. I couldn't believe it. I remember we were driving even on the freeway on red lights in the streets, and people were freaking out, and they were like, "Mystique, Mystique, thumbs up, oh, high five!" And I was telling her, "Look, they are talking to you," and she was just like a diva, just like waving. And I told her, "Get ready because you're going to be surrounded by paparazzis." And indeed, is what happened when we went into the convention. It was in the LA Convention Center. It took us from the door, not from the parking lot or something, from the door to the main entrance of the convention upstairs, 45 minutes because people were stopping us, asking us for pictures.
Wow.
Thankfully, I convinced her and I told her, I warned her about that situation. She got interviewed even in one of these independent YouTube channels, and the guy was talking to her, and he asked her, "Okay, so for how long you have been cosplaying? How many cosplays have you made?" And she said, "This is my first time." Like, I couldn't believe
That's
it.
incredible.
Yes, and she loved it. She enjoyed everything. I couldn't believe it, but she was able to portray. Yeah, she portrayed the 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 body language of Mystique. And we found a Gambit. We found a Wolverine, or a couple of Wolverines. We found the Nightcrawler, and he called her Mama, 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 because in real life, in the comic universe, Mystique is the mother of Nightcrawler. So all that successful it was.
Wow.
And well, that's my sharing on cosplaying.
That's
I have so many things to share.
Oh yeah. So we'll need a whole other
know.
episode. Look, this is the longest section yet. No, it's not. It's not. But that was great.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Nudia, for sharing that with us. And I'm really excited. This is an amazing episode. We have one more segment with Miss Aradia, and she'll be talking about dress up.
Oh, nice! Yay!
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we're back on Hands of Horror, Jackie's Hands of Horror, and I'm here with Aradia for our Pinky section again. Hi, Aradia.
Hi.
How you doing, honey?
Good.
Good. So today we're talking about cosplay, and you and I talked a little bit ahead of time, just so to make sure you know what that is.
Yeah.
So cosplay is what?
It's where people go somewhere.
They dress up?
They dress up so they can go somewhere.
Yeah, but it's more than that. They dress up in costumes, right? Like their favorite superhero.
Yeah.
Or, we talked about that. What if you did cosplay? If you dressed up as a character, what kind of character would you like to be?
That's hard, honestly.
Yeah? Well, you wouldn't have to just choose one. How many? I mean, just pick one. Pick 3.
I would go as one day I would go as Frozen.
Frozen?
Then the next day someone from Despicable Me.
Oh, that would be fun. Okay.
And maybe the last day, I don't know, I'll dress up as someone from Descendants.
Okay, very cool. Well, see, that'd be a lot of work. Some people that do it, they just kind of go the cheap way and get like a Halloween kind of costume. But some people spend months and months and months making their costumes. Maybe we'll take you sometime. Wouldn't that be fun if we went to a Comic-Con?
Yeah. What's a Comic-Con?
You know what a Comic-Con is. You tell us.
A Comic-Con is... So you know how a Comic-Con, you have to do the cosplay so you can go, I guess.
Well, some people do. All kinds of things are being sold there.
Yeah.
Depends, like if it's a Comic-Con, there's lots of comic book sellers, and then there's lots of people dressed up as comic book characters.
Yeah.
Like, imagine, what do you think for girls is really popular right now?
I have no clue, honestly. A Wonder Woman.
Yeah, right? She's like the biggest badass thing going for girls right now.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of them. You know, we should go on the internet and you should look at some pictures
Yeah.
of different cool cosplay. Give you some ideas. I know people who go, whole families go together.
Aw, that's so sweet.
It sure is. And so are you, honey. I love talking to you.
Thank you.
We'll talk again next time
On Jackie's Hand of Horror.
Woo!
Yay!
Well, thank you for joining us once again on Jackie's Hand of Horror. We've had another great episode here with my team, with Nudia.
Hello, everybody.
And myself, and our tech support, Quinn and Natalie, and the rest of the crew at the Revival League podcast.